Hello, welcome to the Film Obsessed Couple. I'm Shelley.
And I'm Scott.
And you know, it's the holiday season, and I'm kind of feeling all the warm and fuzzies.
Yeah?
Yeah. So we have a great community out on our social media, and I'd just like to give a shout out to Frank, who is the host of Silver Screeners.
Yes.
Yeah, he messaged us after listening to our whole ass episode of Believe.
The whole thing.
All of it. And
the ass and everything.
all the ass. And he said when he heard that we were doing Christmas with the Kranks, he jumped out of his shoes.
That's pretty excited for this movie we're about to talk about.
Yeah, right out of his shoes. This kind of made me think of the movie The Mask.
Oh, yeah?
When Jim Carrey was watching Cameron Diaz perform on stage. He's all like, ooh.
Where he turns into the wolf, yeah.
Yeah. But Frank is a fellow movie podcaster like us. And he also did an episode on Christmas with the Kranks last year. And it's his episode number 34.
Mm-hmm.
So all you listeners, make sure you go out there and listen to it. It's Silver Screeners episodes. And also, while you're at it, just download all of his other episodes.
Yeah, while you're there.
Give him a little listen.
As you do with ours, I'm sure.
Yes. And we'd love to do more shout outs like this, not just for podcast, but for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen to our episode and you want to send us a comment, which can be about anything. For example, if the episode makes you think of a crazy, funny time in your life and you want to share it, or if the episode makes you think of another movie.
Mm-hmm.
You can send us a message on social media, either, direct message us or reply to the post on Instagram or Twitter. If you don't follow us, that's totally okay. Or if you're just not really into social media, just send us an email, thefilmobsessedcouple@gmail.com, and be sure to put shout out in the subject line.
Yes.
And we'll shout you out on our next episode.
Yes, we will. We did talk about this a bit. Now, if we get so many different people messaging us, we'll try and pick and choose, or we'll spread them out the best we can.
Right. Exactly. And I'm hoping we get an overwhelming response.
That would be great, yeah.
That would be so cool. So don't think, I'm sure they'll get plenty. I'm not going to put my 2 cents in because that's what I do personally. So I know what you're thinking. But message us. We want to hear from you. We want to give shout outs. We want to give love.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to get on the ground floor now, because if we do blow up in the future, you could be like, oh, they read my letter before they became super popular.
True that.
Because that's totally going to happen.
True that. And it costs $0.
At this point.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Frank didn't pay us any money for this.
Right. Get in on the ground floor before we start charging for us to shout you out.
Oh, but we thank you for listening, and we are going to talk about Christmas with the Kranks.
Yes, we're doing Christmas with the Kranks today. I had looked down a list to see what were maybe some of the worst Christmas movies, and this was up there.
Dang.
I think this has a 5% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's pretty low.
That's very bad, yeah, and I think we'll get to it at the end, but the movie that we're doing next is even worse.
Oh, no.
It has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, no.
And is a religious movie, so maybe if you guys can guess it by the end, I bet some of you can. So, Christmas with the Kranks, and yeah, this has Tim Allen in it, and Jamie Lee Curtis, and Dan Aykroyd's in it for a bit. This movie is not what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a war with the neighbors, like they're constantly going back and forth and fighting with their neighbors, and that's not really what happens.
Yeah, I honestly wasn't sure what to expect. I was just like, okay, we're going to have Christmas with some people, but there's going to have to be some kind of drama or something happening.
Christmas with the Cranks.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
they're cranky.
The names, Kranks. I don't know if this is the names in the book, because this is based upon a book called Skipping Christmas, written by none other than John Grisham.
Oh, boy.
When I saw the credits for this, it was like, based upon the novel Skipping Christmas by John Grisham. I was like, that guy's got the same name as the dude who writes all the law books and stuff. He wrote, like, The Firm, Runaway Jury, just a ton of books that have also been turned into movies. I'm like, that's unfortunate that guy's got the same name. Well, come to figure it is the same guy.
It's the same person.
You know what? I don't want to write anything about law this time, although Lester Crank in this movie, Tim Allen, is a lawyer. You don't really get the sense of that.
Oh, I thought he was like an auditor or something with numbers.
You think that, but then Emmett Walsh later is like, I thought they would make you partner this time. I can't do his voice very well. And so I don't know. I think he is a lawyer. So John Grisham's like, I'm not gonna write anything about lawyers. He could be a lawyer though.
No. Well, I mean, that's something to put in there. But
Yeah.
and you can't expect to be great at everything all the time. Like
Yeah.
he wrote all those wonderful things. You got to have one bomb, right?
I think he's had bombs before. To be honest, I have not read all of his books. I wonder if he's even got ghostwriters because he puts out so many books. I wonder if he has people that write some of it for him.
Maybe.
There were some authors that came out like that. I read the Animorph series when I was a kid, the kids turning into animals and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was heartbroken later to find out that she, K.A. Applegate, used ghostwriters for it.
Oh, damn.
I don't know, it just takes away the fun.
Yeah.
Like, I'm having someone else write my shit.
That's kind of rude. And put your name on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
But I don't know the book. I guess I should have looked it up to see kind of what was the thing of the book. But, you know, from what I understand, same kind of thing. The main characters want to skip Christmas.
And do something fun and crazy.
Yeah, go on a cruise, for God's sake, and then they can't because their neighbors are insane.
Which sounds so fun to me.
You know, I guess if he didn't have anybody around for Christmas, yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah, but they do like this huge, extravagant Christmas, which I think is why it's such a big deal.
It's insane. It's insane. Like, it seems like they just put on a big Christmas party at the year.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm sorry, guys. Like, the whole crux of the movie is that their daughter, I'm assuming, is leaving the house for the first time.
Yeah.
She 18 or something, maybe?
Going on a mission trip.
Yeah, she's in the Peace Corps going to Peru.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie, it starts out pretty funny. It starts out with Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis in bed looking very disappointed. And I'm like, did they just have disappointing sex?
That's what I was thinking too.
Tim Allen's like, well, I'm getting older. It's getting hard to, get excited now.
Like he didn't finish.
I couldn't even get it up.
It was disappointing. So they're just sitting there like, what do we do now?
Yes, they're like, well, I guess this is just another thing we won't talk about going forward in our marriage.
Which could kind of tie into other things that happen that Jamie Lee Curtis thinks is going to be spicing up their romance. And it ends up turning to be something completely different because Tim Allen is oblivious.
Yeah, she's very horny in this movie.
It's very.
It's crazy. But yes, the daughter, she's leaving to go to the Peace Corps. We start the movie, it's like right the day after Thanksgiving, because they're taking her to the airport, and Tim Allen is like, oh, the day after Thanksgiving is the busiest traveled day of the year. And Jamie Lee Curtis, it's almost like she can't function without her daughter in this movie.
Yeah.
She is like crying constantly. It's like, I get it, you miss her, but when her daughter calls later, she's like, Wah! She's like, oh my God.
It is over the top.
It's like in Arrested Development, which we need to watch that show because I don't think you've ever watched it. But when a character, Gene, he always like pops out in an unexpected time. The mom, she's always like, Gene, does the hands. It's like, ah! It's like, so people that have seen it, that's pretty much how Jamie Lee Curtis acts whenever she hears from her daughter.
It's crazy.
It's like, oh, Blair's on the phone. I'm doing hands.
Yeah. He's doing jazz hands.
Yeah.
Like facing down.
Well, I'll have to show you the mom in Arrested Development, but that's kind of how she does it. So, yeah, they're like, you know what? Our daughter's gone. We're depressed. They're very depressed, it seems like. Tim Allen, not so much. I think he's trying to get by. He's being the rough man.
Oh, yeah. He's a man, so he can't have emotions.
I guess. But Jamie Lee Curtis is breaking down. But that's the whole thing of the movie is like, you know what? Our daughter's not here. It's just us. Fuck the neighbors. Let's go on a cruise.
Yeah, and I think the trip to the grocery store is what really finalized it. When he was like going through the rain.
Yeah.
And trying to get the exact thing that Jamie Lee Curtis was asking him for. And then he just got drenched with all that water.
Yeah.
And then he saw the cruise ship. I mean, damn, I'd want to go on a cruise ship.
Yeah. Yeah, the movie, it does not make sense to me. Because it's like, these neighbors are so insane.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim Allen, I gotta say, is also insane.
Yes.
The way he handles things throughout this movie, I'm just like, all right, you don't have to be an asshole about it.
Total asshole.
Yeah, because you're right. Like, after they drop off the daughter at the airport, they go to the store, and yeah, it's like raining cats and dogs, and she makes Tim Allen get out in the rain, and he's all like, "Get out in the rain." That's his catchphrase. he doesn't find like the thing that she needs for some pie or something, like white chocolate. So he gets back in and she's like, "But I need the white chocolate." He's like, "Well, I didn't see it." She's like, "Well, did you ask the butcher?" And he's like, "Rah, rah, rah, I didn't ask the butcher because why would the butcher?" Rah, 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 rah. He just talked like that throughout the whole movie.
Like, is there a dog in here?
Well, yeah, he's like a dog in this movie because he hisses at the cat a few times.
Yeah, he does.
But he goes back in and he's raining, and there's this Santa Claus on the side of the street that's trying to give him an umbrella, and he's all like, "Fuck you, Santa! I don't need an umbrella," which is like, just pay the $3.
Flips him off, tells him to go fuck himself.
Take that umbrella and stick it up your ass.
I'm too good for an umbrella.
Yeah, and it's like, just pay the $2 or whatever for an umbrella. I thought this was Emmett Walsh because it kind of sounds like him at the beginning, where he's like, "Oh, you want a umbrella here? I got an umbrella for you." I won't do the impression, so I guess I should get this out of the way. This episode comes out the day before We Hate Movies is doing their episode on Christmas with the Kranks.
Yes.
And we had this planned, and we didn't actually have this plan to go until a couple of weeks ago, where I was like, I thought we were only going to do one more episode after Believe. We decided, we would have the time to do it, so we just picked Christmas with the Kranks out of a hat because it's bad reviews. And then last week, I think We Hate Movies, I subscribed to their Patreon, released the schedule of the movies that they're doing. And I was like, oh, they're doing Christmas with the Kranks. Oh, boy. And I did the math, and I'm like, it's a day after us. I was like, oh, no.
Oh, boy. So after you watch Silver Screeners episode of this, then go over and listen to We Hate Movies episode. So you're going to get like a shit ton of Christmas with the Kranks.
Yeah.
It's just what you need.
And if you're like, hey, it sounds like you guys ripped off We Hate Movies, or We Hate Movies ripped you off, I'm sure there's going to be similar jokes. Because, I mean, how much can you joke around about this movie with it being different?
But we're recording it first.
Maybe. I don't know when they
well,
record.
True, they probably recorded it
They have more
before.
people, so I think they have to do it in advance. But yes, we're recording this now on December 10th.
But we're not in competition.
No.
I don't want to put that out there.
Absolutely not.
They're so much better.
Oh, they've been doing it quite a bit longer. Yeah. We did have a discussion where we're like, do we change it? Like, should we change it and not worry about, oh, they're doing it the same day? So no competition. It's just one of those freak accidents. Only so many bad Christmas movies. So I'm trying not to do... They do an Emmett Walsh impression because he's been in different movies that they've done before. I'm trying not to do that one because theirs are like, "Oh, how's it going? I'm gonna shoot you in the face." So that's theirs. I'm trying definitely not to do that. I'm like, be more realistic how he actually talks. They're like, "Oh, man, how you doing?"
Is that the Santa? Who are you doing?
Well, I thought that was Emmett Walsh as the Santa because it sounds like him.
Oh, I see.
He's like, "Oh, you need an umbrella or something, old man." I'm like, oh, is that Emmett Walsh as Santa? But no, it's somebody completely different. So, but yes, he comes out of the store a second time, and as a guy is going in, Tim Allen gets knocked, and he knocks a stand for like the little
awning,
yeah. And the Santa Claus guy is like, "You don't want an umbrella?" And he's like, "I don't need an umbrella because how could I get any wet?" And it like,
yeah,
I put in my notes, it douches him. He's like,
it does. Oh, that's a good word.
Like, I was gonna say, how could I get any wetter? And then, yeah, he's so pissed off, he turns around and he sees the ad for the cruise.
And it's got like palm trees and a couple people in bathing suits.
Beautiful people, yeah.
Yeah, of course. They're perfect.
Which, there's not much trivia on this, but the bathing suits that the couple is wearing in this ad are the same bathing suits that he gets them later when they go tanning.
The guy's wearing a Speedo?
Yeah.
Holy shit, I missed that.
You're too busy looking at the beautiful lady.
Maybe.
I'm like, whoa.
It was from the back, you know?
Yeah.
I like butts. And I cannot lie.
That kind of starts it, and this is where we kind of see that Tim Allen's an asshole, because as he comes back to the car, Jamie Lee Curtis is crying. And he's like, what's the matter? And she's like, oh, their daughter Blair. She's like, Blair called from the plane. And he's like, called from the plane? Do you know how much that costs?
That's what I'd say.
He just starts growling at her. Oh. He's like, why did I marry a dog? Not like a dog as in he has bad ideas about women, but a literal dog.
And it shows what time period this is in, too, because planes don't have phones anymore.
Yeah. I don't even know if they still do these days.
I don't think so. I mean maybe one.
Yeah. Granted, we didn't fly on the most luxurious planes, just standard planes when we went to New York, but they didn't have phones, yeah.
No.
And I have a bone to pick with them because they're like, oh, connect to our internet to be on your phones. It didn't work.
No, it didn't.
My phone, I connected to their internet. I did everything it asked. I signed away my life. I cut my finger and gave some blood. And I still couldn't get to the internet. It was like, oh, no connection.
Yep, they're going to get our firstborn, too, if we ever have a baby.
Oh, joke's on them. Yeah, no, I thought it was kind of strange. I couldn't either on any plane, like the plane going to Texas, the plane from Texas to New York, and then New York to North Carolina to Springfield, no internet.
Yeah, we were on planes, let me tell you.
Yeah, because apparently you just can't go straight from Missouri to New York.
No, not without paying 3 times as much.
For some reason, you got to go all the way to Texas and then to New York.
Makes sense.
And then on the way back, you got to stop in North Carolina, but it was fun. That's the first time I've ever been on a plane.
Yeah.
So it was interesting.
Great.
The second time on the way back, it was like, what, a 3-hour flight to North Carolina?
It was awful.
I was getting pretty antsy. Because little did we know we were both getting COVID.
Yes.
I just thought I had allergies, so I was kind of like antsy. I'm like, the plane had 3 seats on each side. I think I was in the middle on the way back, but I really felt like I was trapped for some reason. Like I was stuck and could not get out of this area.
I did too. And that says a lot because I'm usually pretty patient.
Yeah. Where are we? Believe? Okay, so he gets
Christmas with the Kranks, man.
Oh, right. So Tim Allen, this is where he gets the idea to skip Christmas, the name of the book. So it's a little crazy. I wonder if people actually do this and spending money, this much money on Christmas. Because I thought he was tallying up the cruise, but he's actually tallying up how much they spent on Christmas last year, which was over $6,000.
My goodness.
We come nowhere near that.
Nowhere.
Do people who really love Christmas, do you spend that much?
I mean, I don't even know that we do 10% of that.
I don't even know if we get to $1,000.
No.
No.
Well, 10% would be like 600, but.
Oh, true. Yeah, true.
I hope not. This year I have not kept track.
Yeah, no, and I don't really do that either.
I'm a little scared.
Well, he says later, he tells Jamie Lee Curtis some of the things that they've spent. He's like, $150 on ornament repair.
Ornament repair?
Yeah.
What the hell?
I guess they're like, well, Blair made this when she was a kid. We got to get it touched up. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Maybe. That's what I can only imagine.
Okay.
They're not like regular people where it's like, oh, that ornament broke. That sucks.
This should be Christmas with the rich Kranks.
They are. They are so rich.
They are stupid rich.
Because, and I don't know how, he must be making some damn good money because I thought Jamie Lee Curtis was a housewife in this because she's at home quite a bit.
She's not?
But she does work for the soup kitchen or whatever. Because you remember she does meet with her 2 friends talking about like, we got to get the band for the Christmas pageant or whatever.
Oh, I thought maybe she just volunteered.
That's what I'm thinking too, because I was like, well, you can't make much money doing that, if any. So he must be making some damn good money at that law firm.
Well, a lawyer, yeah.
Working with John Grisham.
Makes sense.
He realizes that his firm is evil and works for the mafia, and he has to expose them. That's the plot of The Firm. Another John Grisham book. So yeah, he must be making some damn good money because they spend quite a bit. Like, he tallies up how much they spent and how much it'll be for the trip that they want to go on. And this scene here is probably the only funny scene in the movie, I thought. It's when they're at dinner. Jamie Lee is like as horny as can be, and he's giving her looks, and she's like, what are you looking at me for? Mm-hmm. And he's like, nothing, I gotta give you something. And he walks away, and she like fluffs her hair and unbuttons her vest. She's wearing like a Christmas sweater.
Oh, yeah.
And she starts downing the wine at the table.
Yeah. I was cracking up. Yeah, I love this scene. It's so funny.
She is very funny in this, yes. And I was like, well, of course, anybody that has to have sex with Tim Allen is going to need to get wasted to do it.
I think I did put in my notes, I'm like, why does she need to get drunk to have sex?
Because when he's having sex with her, he's like, she's like, great, a dog's humping me.
I wonder if they do that style.
Oh, doggy style? It's the only way, honey. It's the only way I'll have sex. She's like, God, why did I marry Tim Allen?
Oh my God. That's awful.
But he lays it out here. She's ready to like get it on at the table.
Yeah, he even like scoots things over, like clears the table off.
Yeah, and she's like, it's not even Saturday.
No.
I guess that's like their one day a week.
He schedule sex. That's awesome.
That's romantic. So she like, oh, close the blinds, and he's like, what? What are you talking about? But he comes back in with a boombox, which you don't have those anymore,
Not really.
and a Hawaiian shirt with sunglasses on, playing like reggae music.
Yeah. I'm like, that's great.
That's something. But she's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're not gonna help my leg for a few seconds and that's it? We're actually gonna do something weird with it now?
We're going to have music with it? It's weird.
Don't get me wrong, I mean, I love our 3 seconds of sex, but you're making it a little crazier, huh? All right.
Spicing it up.
Yeah. Yes, he's like, we're going on a cruise. And this was a big trailer line because, going on a little tangent here now, it didn't hit me until the credits hit with the Santa Christmas music, but this movie came out when I worked at the theater.
Oh, that's right. I remember you saying that.
I started working at that theater in 2004. I think this is 2006. Oh, 2004 as well, so the same year. I started in May. This would have been in December-ish, I think. Yeah, this came out the same year I started working at the theater.
Wow.
And I just remember the trailers playing in the lobby and cleaning the theater when it was over. But when he's like, we got to go on this cruise, and she's like, well, when do we leave? He's like, Christmas Day. And she's like, well, that's not going to work. He's like, we skip Christmas. And she goes, we skip Christmas?
What?
That was in the trailer the whole time.
Yeah.
And you just hear it every now and again. You're like, oh, here's your popcorn. That's going to be $15.75. Skip Christmas. That would happen. You would just hear a line because we had TVs all in the lobby of the theater, and they would be playing like movie trailers and stuff. There was a horse movie. Gosh, I wish I could remember it, but there was a line where the dad is like, they're losing money and stuff on this ranch, and he's like, we're going to sell the dang ranch. I heard that all the time.
Oh, wow.
Be cleaning the lobby, and just people will be talking, oh, sell the dang ranch. We made fun of that so hard.
I bet.
So PTSD from some trailers. But he tells her, we spent $6,000. And she's like, well, how much is this trip going to be? He's like, $3,000.
Yeah, and then she's like, we'll be saving money?
Yeah, that gets her even horny.
Yeah, she's all like ripping her clothes off and really getting her hair fluffy.
Oddly enough, she's like, well, okay, we'll skip Christmas, but we still want to give our donations to the charities. And he's like, fuck them.
Yeah, they got plenty.
She's like, because she wants to donate to like the children's hospital and the church.
Why would you want to do that?
He has this hard stance where it's like total boycott on Christmas.
Right.
Like,
and I'm kidding. You donating is very good. Children need it. All
yes.
the charities need it.
Yes, absolutely. It's just very strange to me that he's like, we're skipping Christmas entirely. Like donations, good things that we normally do for people, no.
Fuck it.
Fuck them.
Fuck all of it.
The church I can understand, but which later, here in just a minute, it cuts to them in bed because she's like, we're not doing it unless we donate. And he was like, fine, I'll fucking donate for him. And she's like, well, just give $600 like we did last year. $600.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That is a lot of money. That shows you how rich they are.
But if you're stupid rich, that's really not a lot.
Drop in the bucket.
I mean, they could do 1,000 probably.
That'd be like me, donating $50. Be like, I can do it.
Right. Yeah. $50 is a lot. But, I mean, in the whole scheme of it, or the whole picture, they need like thousands or millions even.
Yeah.
Especially for the hospitals.
True.
But every little bit counts. So if you can only give $5 to something that you're passionate about, then do that.
I am going to be donating to an LGBTQ charity this year because she's not going to listen to this. I got my mom the Harry Potter series for Christmas.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I want them. When I moved out, I took the books with me because at the time, I really enjoyed them. Unfortunately, J.K. Rowling has become a huge transphobic person, but
right.
I kind of felt a little guilty buying them because I'm like, ugh, that's going to go to her. She's going to get some percentage of that. So I'm going to donate to a charity to ease my conscience.
I think that's wonderful.
It'll be $600. They can't see me wink. See? They can't see me winking.
I'm going to have to take away your wallet for a little bit. No, I'm kidding.
No, I don't know why it affects me so much, but I'm just like, Dude, it really bums me out that that lady's gonna get money.
Yeah, I mean, she's going to get it anyway because there's so many people that do support her, which
Yeah.
is just insane. I don't know why anybody would want to support hate, but you do you, I guess. I think in the long run, it's just she's going to get it anyway.
Yeah, that I understand,
It's
and
like Walmart.
yes, I have not read the books in a while. I used to try to read them every year because I really like them. I don't know. I'm always been a person that has had a hard time separating the art from the artist. If the
Mm-hmm.
artist is a real piece of shit.
Yeah, you do that in movies too.
Yeah, yeah, and music. Like I couldn't listen to Guns N' Roses for the longest time because I knew that Axl Rose, the singer, was a piece of shit. And
Yeah.
I do that with other bands too. Like the Smiths. I love the Smiths, but man, Morrissey is an asshole. I was
Yikes.
like, ugh. And you read Harry Potter and it's like, Voldemort doesn't like certain people and we need equality for all. I'm like, she wrote about equality for
Wait.
all and she doesn't believe it.
But it's fiction, so
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. I'm looking at the Harry Potter books on the ground here because they're behind you on the floor
yeah.
where I'm going to wrap them later. But
This is an episode of us ranting about whatever we want to rant about.
that's pretty much every episode. So he agrees to donating the money because she has a very good line. He goes, "Are you going to let a few $100 get in the way of us going on a trip?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "No, you are."
Yeah.
And that really gets him.
I'm going to use that whenever I can.
I'll just have to remember never to set you up for that line.
Mm-hmm.
So he agrees to give money, and Jamie Lee jumps on him, and he's like, "Well, honey, it's not even Saturday."
No, they finally get it on.
Yes. This is the start of him acting like a complete asshole or doing things I just can't understand, because the first thing he does now is he prints up like a big letter to his office,
Yeah.
and he's like, "My wife and I are going on a trip. I will not be at the Christmas party. I will not be giving or accepting gifts."
Yeah, pretty much like fuck off.
Yeah. It's like, I know you don't want to do Christmas, but there are still some things you could do.
Yeah, and then I'm like, wait, are these like his employees? He's putting this on official letterhead.
You would think, I guess, because yeah, it shows him walking around the office handing these out, and as he does, like more and more people are like standing looking at him. They're like,
And
no
honestly,
gifts.
if my boss did send out a letter like that, like not celebrating Christmas, I'd probably be just like, okay,
Sure.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do. I
They,
don't know why you had to put it on official letterhead.
yeah, I don't know. I think there was somebody on some basketball team. It was either mine or like another girl's, like my sister's basketball team or something. But there was a girl on there that my mom was like, "Oh, that girl here, her parents are Jehovah's Witness. They don't celebrate Christmas."
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And like she was so weirded out by that. She's like, "They don't celebrate any holidays."
Yeah. When I was a manager, I had some employees that were like that.
Yeah.
And, we totally respected it, and we still did, decorations and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But if we were handing out gifts, it felt weird, but they would not get anything.
Yeah, it does feel strange.
And they requested that. And I was even open and talked to one of them because, I wanted to make sure I wasn't hurting his feelings
Yeah.
or offending him. So I just kind of set out, what are your expectations? These are my expectations. And we kind of worked together on that.
Yeah.
So it was really nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. Back then as a kid, I just couldn't understand it. I'm like, they don't celebrate Christmas. Now I'm like, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. And you're like, why wouldn't you want a present? Presents are fun.
And I'm like, oh, you don't have to like rush around and see family. And thankfully, we don't really have to do that. It's just my parents.
Yeah. It's like maybe they do that all year, which I think is what you should do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Appreciate your family and, be kind to people, And I think a lot of it is the season.
Yeah.
And that's probably a lot of the reason why I like to celebrate it, even though we're not religious. It's just, it's kind of a gloomy time of the year. And why not, be a little happy with your family, unless you got a crazy family. And if so, you just take the good out of that.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's what you got to do all year. And then some people just only want to do that for Christmas.
Yeah.
He passes the letters out to everybody. They're all kind of weirded out. But Jamie Lee gets accosted in the town. They seems like they live in a very small town.
Yeah.
The way that it's set up.
Because everybody knows everybody.
Yeah, because she's in a store and this guy who, if I remember right, this guy who like bothers her about her Christmas cards, I think was in Galaxy Quest. He was one of the aliens.
Oh, okay.
And Tim Allen is in that movie as well.
Hmm.
But he jumps Mrs. Crank, Jamie Lee Curtis, in the street, and he's like, "Hey, I haven't heard anything about your Christmas cards yet."
Yeah, which is rude.
Yeah.
Like, you don't do that as a business person. At least I would never do that. Maybe that makes me a horrible salesperson. But
Yeah.
no.
It seems like this is a very small town. You're right, because everybody knows everybody. However, it does look like they live in a big city because Tim Allen works in a gigantic office.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Maybe it's like they live in New York, but they commute. They live in like a small town.
Maybe.
I live in town for 5 days a week and then go home on the weekends.
Yeah. You'd have to.
Yeah, that's like in Revolutionary Road with Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, I think they live in New York maybe, but at the beginning it shows how long of a commute he has on the train to get in.
I can
I
imagine.
was like, ooh, that's miserable.
Yeah.
But she tells him, she's like, we're not doing that this year. I'm not going to need any Christmas cards. And she's, for some reason, like, very scared to tell him. She's just so nervous.
I think she's a little embarrassed.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or she doesn't want to let people down. Something like that.
Yeah, probably so. She's, it'd probably be me. I would, if people are like, oh, are you going to do it? I'm like, I don't think so.
I don't want to commit.
So she goes to lunch with her two friends, and they're only in 2 scenes, I think.
That's weird, right?
Unless they were at the party at the end. I didn't see them.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
But yes, it is very strange. It's Caroline Ray, who was one of the moms in Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the show.
No, okay.
She was very hot at the time, on that show, on this. She
What?
got some work.
I'm sorry?
Work.
What did
Like,
you say?
Very hot with work.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like
No.
a hot commodity. Like, people wanted her.
I'm kidding.
I know. And then the other one, either recently paroled or currently in jail, Felicity Huffman. William H. Macy's wife, who got sentenced some time because they were doing that whole college scandal, cheating and paying for money for college.
Yeah, if we ever had kids, I mean, I would do anything for them, but I don't know that I would go this far.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you can't get into this college, then you're meant to go somewhere else. But she was all like, you're going to this college and I'm going to make sure.
Yeah. She paid, I'm looking it up here. It says she paid $15,000 to have a proctor change her answers after she took the SAT.
Oh, shit.
Oh, okay. She was sentenced to 250 hours of community service and was on supervised release for 1 year.
Wow.
So, if you're rich, it doesn't matter.
And her daughter is probably mortified.
I don't know. Like Aunt Becky from Full House, she did it too. I don't know what her sentence was, but her daughter, people were like posting video clips of her daughter like through the years, and her daughter seems kind of dumb.
Oh, that's sad.
I hate to say it, but she just seems kind of like a Kim Kardashian type.
Oh, I see.
Where she's like, I don't even want to go to college. I want to focus on my makeup.
Well,
And then they were like, your mom's getting in some serious shit for paying for you to get into college.
Oh, no. There's so much you can do now without going to college, though. So I don't get it. Like, you can make tons of money being a content creator or even makeup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I see TikTok stuff all the time, and people come out with their own makeup line. I mean, of course, not everybody, unfortunately, because it's a saturated field.
Yeah.
Just like podcasting, but we do it because we love it.
Yeah, there's no guarantee that you would make it, but yeah, so that's her two friends, and she's having lunch with them, and this is where I think she's planning. They're like, oh, we need to have a band for the pageant or party or whatever. And they're like, well, last year it cost us $15,000.
Wow.
Yeah, she's like, well, I paid for it myself. No, I don't know. But this is where that dude comes back in and is like, oh, we didn't even talk about your Christmas party invites. And she's like, oh, I don't need those either. And this dude's like, oh, she's not even getting Christmas cards for anybody this year.
Yeah, like, this is too much out in the open.
Like, dude, calm down.
You're airing my dirty laundry right now?
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird because then her friends jump on Jamie Lee and they're like, well, you always have a Christmas party this year. And Felicity Huffman's like, well, what are we supposed to do if you're not here?
Maybe go to your family.
Yeah, I'm like, well, your lives revolve around them?
Yeah.
But she's like, yeah, we're going on a cruise and we're gonna stop. We're not gonna do it this year.
And then
Blair's gone.
people think that's the worst thing in the world.
I know this town is so strange.
It's a lot like the pageant.
Yeah,
And
yes.
Believe, because they were just like, the pageant has to happen, otherwise, the world's gonna end. And they're just like, oh, we have to have Christmas Eve party at the Cranks, or we're just not socially accepted anymore.
I guess, but dude, it's like, yes, you guys are their friends, and them going does not mean that they don't want to be your friends anymore.
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna get some scene where Tim Allen's like, oh, I'm so upset that Blair's gone. It just doesn't feel like Christmas, but we never get that.
Mm-mm.
Where he's like, well, I've been an asshole because I just miss Blair so much, and I want it to be like a regular. But he's just like, I don't want to deal with these people.
Yeah, he's probably sick of it because
Yeah.
he has to cater to them, it seems like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because the next scene here is him bartering with the Boy Scouts.
That's right.
They just automatically come to his house with a tree.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, it's $90 for this tree. Which I'm like, $90?
I
Holy
thought
shit.
they only sold popcorn.
I don't know. I've only seen it in movies where they have like a tree farm,
Yeah.
You see them where they go to the big tree farm and they're like, oh, I'll have that one.
I know. I always see Girl Scouts sell cookies and Boy Scouts sell popcorn. That's
Yes.
it. Nothing else.
Jamie Lee again is being very cowardly. She like lets him deal with it. She kind of slinks back into the house.
I would do that.
Yeah, I would do that too.
In fact, I have done that because there was somebody, it was a Republican, that came to our door. You were outside and I was inside and the door was open and I just closed the door
Yes.
and left you outside.
Yes, thank you for that.
I'm like, he can handle this. It's fine.
Oh, I did.
You did, yeah.
I think that's the guy where I saw he was like anti-abortion at any age, or I think no, he was pro-guns,
Guns,
and it
yeah.
was just pick out which one. But there was just a school shooting that had happened,
Mm-hmm.
and as he started to walk away, I'm like, oh, pro-guns, that's pretty good at this time, huh? And he like kept
Yes.
walking.
He's like, okay, you guys are not Republicans. I'm
And-
out of here. I'm like,
and
go
then-
to our neighbors. They're Republicans.
Yeah, he heard me ripping his little sign up as he walked away. I was like, pro-guns, huh? Big shooting in school.
No thanks. We're not against guns, but there needs to be a little bit more control.
Yes, absolutely. We're in Missouri, so guns are pretty common.
Oh yeah.
Where they're like, oh, it's like you get a lot of people that are like, they're heritage. Like, this is what we like. We grew up with them.
And hunting, it's good to do that because deers can just get crazy.
Yeah, but there's got to be something.
Yeah,
More just school shootings every day.
it's sad.
Tim Allen here, like, rejects the Christmas tree. He's like, no, we're not doing it this year. And one of the kids is like, well, I'm sorry that the price went up.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Oh.
And he's like, no, we're not doing Christmas this year. We don't need a tree. And the dad just knocks this tree over and like drags it back to the truck where they're at. He just like, boom, like, and
Being babies about it.
yeah, I'm like, you're damaging that nice tree.
Yeah. Now you're not going to be able to sell it at all.
Yeah. So this is where we get introduced to Dan Aykroyd. His name is Vic Frothmeyer, or Frohmeyer.
Frohmeyer?
Yeah, Frohmeyer, I guess. They call him the warden boss of the street, which I know we're going off tangents left and right here, but I am so fucking glad we do not live in a homeowners neighborhood. It's a homeowners
Yes.
association.
Uh-huh.
I sometimes do like look that up, or I'll see on the news like homeowner association fights, or people fighting each other. It's like somebody always wants to be the head of the homeowners association, and then it seems like they always try to rule it with an iron fist.
Mm-hmm.
But this isn't a homeowners association. Dan Aykroyd's just crazy.
He's the street bully.
Pretty much. Yeah, because Tim Allen and Jamie Lee go back into their house and they see the Boy Scouts and their dad talking to Dan Aykroyd.
Mm.
And he turns around like he's like the devil. Like, "Mm."
Yeah.
And it just does like a zoom in on the house that he's looking. It's like, boom, boom, boom.
And he even gets his son in on it.
Which this kid, again, talk about another hot commodity at the time. This is Dewey, the youngest son from Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah. So cute.
Yeah, he was. He's kind of dropped out of acting from what I understand.
Oh, well. I'm sure childhood acting is traumatic, so.
Gosh, I hope not for him. So we cut to night and Tim Allen meets Dan Aykroyd. He's like taking his garbage out or his recyclables, and he just sits him on the side of the road. He
Yeah.
has like, I watched it again a little bit yesterday to kind of refresh, and he has like this little tray of bottles, it sounds like, and he just sets it on the side of his street and walks back inside.
Yeah, I think that's what that normally happens.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, never knew that.
I mean, we don't recycle. Don't hate us. We love the earth.
My parents do, so it cancels it out.
We're just lazy people.
Eh. But Dan Aykroyd shows up, and this is where he's kind of trying to not be so crazy about it, but he is trying to strong arm him back into Christmas.
Yeah.
And Dan Aykroyd, he's doing his weird, like, Chicago, like, oh, beautiful year this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, boy, we sure miss Blair. And he's like, yeah, we do too. And he's like, oh, what's this I hear you're not going to be doing Christmas, huh? And he's like, yeah, we're just doing it. And he's like, boy, you should, the neighbors are really going to love it if you did Christmas. And he's like, he has a really good line. Tim Allen's like, that's none of your business.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's not. And I thought it was funny at the same time. You kind of see Catty Corner. There's a house and they're putting up lights.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I think it's like right next door to Tim Allen. It's a husband, a wife, and I thought somebody, because it's their kid. This kid is drinking beer the whole time.
Yes, and we thought it was the wife at first.
I did too. Yeah, he's got long hair, but it is Rickety Cricket from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yes. It's so funny.
Yeah.
His character in that show is just ridiculous.
It's just the worst of the worst. Just things keep happening to him.
Yeah.
Where he's like, well, I'm he talks, I wish I could remember some of the lines. He's like, oh, my neck. Yeah, it looks like the scar he gets on his neck from one time. He was like, yeah, dogs like to hump it. It looks like a vagina. You just gotta let him finish.
Oh, yuck.
That's when he gets hit in the neck with the trash can.
Okay.
Danny DeVito's character, they're doing the wrestling show, and Danny DeVito throws it and hits him in the neck.
That's right.
He's like, oh, did I get you, Cricket? He's like, he's like bleeding super bad.
I'm just gonna die. It's cool.
Yeah, I just can't believe how bad they keep that character. If you haven't seen the show, just worse and worse things keep happening to him. He starts off as a really nice, like, priest.
Yes.
And then just because he is associated with the gang, he gets fucked up.
It's awful.
But he's the kid. He's in here for just like 2 scenes too. He's like, his dad is hanging lights up, and then the dad gets electrocuted and falls off the ladder, and he's just standing there with a beer laughing.
Yeah, they never focus on him for very long because
No.
it took us a minute just to realize who it was.
Yeah.
Because it was just like focus for a second and then pan away. Like, wait, nope, go back.
Yeah, because there's a scene where Tim Allen's stealing a tree later, and his neighbors look out their window, and we see him again.
Yeah.
And he's drinking a beer again, so I guess he's supposed to be like an alcoholic, but like how old is he supposed to be?
I don't know.
Making him an alcoholic is kind of a weird choice, because you're like, well, he still lives with his parents. I don't know.
I guess maybe they were showing that they were kind of a quote unquote rough neighbor.
Oh, maybe.
Which it seems sometimes is in every neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to make it realistic. But that was the only time they saw him drinking. Or we saw him drinking.
He's drinking in the second scene, too. He's got a beer in his hand.
It was the first time of 2 that we saw him drinking.
So he and Dan Aykroyd are talking after they see the neighbor fall, and Dan Aykroyd's like, well, it's time to put up Frosty. And he hands him a flyer where it's like, don't forget to put your Frosty up, because I guess everybody in the neighborhood has a Frosty the Snowman statue.
This is weird.
That you have to put up on the roof.
I don't get it.
I guess we'll find out later that this Frosty is the devil because its face changes.
It is. And it's dangerous as hell.
Yeah. Here's where we kind of get introduced to Emmett Walsh and his wife. They live right across the street. He keeps calling Tim Allen old man for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I heard they didn't make your partner over there, old man. And he's Tim Allen, that drives him crazy. He says, you're like 10 years older than I am, but I don't think that could be true. Emmett Walsh has always looked like he's in his 80s the whole time.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Emmett Walsh, he has a funny line back to him where he's like, you're like 10 years older than I am. It's like, oh, prove it. There's a whole subplot here of his wife is dealing with cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And they just found out that the cancer is back.
Right.
And it is probably spread, because that's when Jamie Lee is with her friends for the second scene. is Caroline Ray comes into the soup kitchen they're working at, and she just starts crying. And I thought that was trying to get them to stay for Christmas. Because she's like, oh, his wife has got cancer again. They said it's back. And boy, they don't know how much longer that she's got.
This could be your last Christmas.
She says that, yes. And I was like, oh, they're fucking with her.
Oh.
But yeah, that really doesn't have any place in the movie, only for just the very last scene. You know, he wants Tim Allen to do a nice thing for him. But this poor woman that's like, oh, she's got cancer and she's going to be dying.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird.
That's just an awful turn, I guess.
And in case if cancer was not rough enough, Tim Allen keeps stepping on her cat.
Yeah.
And hissing at it. And the wife's like, oh, aren't you two ever going to get along?
It's a cute, fluffy white cat.
Yeah, and Tim Allen does that.
Yeah.
Hisses at it.
Oh my God.
So here we get some of the craziness back between the neighbors and stuff. Like, Tim Allen goes to work and the neighbors are standing outside their house and they're like, Nora, you bring out Frosty? Bring out Frosty here and we'll put him up for you. And she's like freaking out in the house. It reminded me of Halloween because she's like standing in the house scared.
Yes.
Looking out the window like, oh God, they're going to come in. So she calls Tim Allen and he's like, get out of the house. So they meet up at this bar.
Yeah. But I think it was funny when she did leave. It was very, like, almost suspenseful. And she's going real slow.
Yeah.
Like, driving real slow. And then Dan Aykroyd comes over and starts harassing her and grabbing onto the side of the window.
Oh, I was so pissed off here about these neighbors because, yeah, she calls Tim Allen and he's like, meet up at this bar. So she's like slinking out in her car trying to escape. And then her neighbors are like, she's running.
Yeah.
I'd be like, fuck you guys.
They're like a mob.
Yeah. Like, stop her. Dan Aykroyd jumps on the car and he's like, Nora, just give us Frosty. We want Frosty, Nora.
Jeez.
And she rolls his fingers up into the window and he falls and his gloves are still there.
Yeah, which I thought was funny because then she looked over and started screaming.
Yeah, I mean, you got Jamie Lee Curtis screaming in a movie. I mean, hey, that's taking me back to Halloween.
Gotta do it.
And other movies she's been in.
She's famous for it.
But yeah, they meet up at the bar and this is where Jamie Lee Curtis is like pounding beer again.
Yeah.
Because she's like freaked out by the neighbors. And this is the bathing suit scene. Tim Allen's like, well, I've got something for you. And he pops out this very small bathing suit for her and him.
Yeah. A Speedo.
And she's like, well, I don't want to wear this on the cruise. And he's like, that's the great thing. It's not for the cruise. And they go downstairs in this mall to like a tanning bed area.
Yeah.
And this poor lady, she's been in stuff, but the lady that works there is like completely covered. She looks like burnt.
Oh, like orange.
Like a certain president we just got rid of.
I mean, you know what spray tans look like. Yeah. Exactly like the president.
Yes.
Ex-president.
Yeah, this is a huge thing. I thought it was more in the 2000s, but maybe it was catching on in the late 90s.
I don't know.
Everyone getting spray tanned and looking like burnt piece of toast.
It's gross.
Yeah.
But if you do it, that's cool. That's fine. Just
yeah.
Not for me.
Just, if you get out, you're like, wow, I went too far. Maybe like, a couple of tans less next time.
I prefer to be pale and pasty.
Yeah. So this is a very strange scene where we cut to Jamie Lee Curtis in her bikini in the tanning room.
Yeah.
And she's like, this should be illegal. And she gets in the tanning bed. And, I mean, I had to look it up. She's like 46, I think, in this scene. She looks good.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah. She's in the tanning bed, and some dude that works there who played Squiggy on Laverne and Shirley comes out, and he walks into the room where she's bathing, and he's like, oh gosh, I'm sorry, because that's how he used to talk on the show. He's like, oh gosh, oh jeez, and she's like, she hits her head because she scares her, and she comes out into the main lobby of this tanning place, and it's like right at the exit of the mall, like people are walking by, and she's just hanging out in this bathing suit.
Yeah, she just comes out. Yeah, I don't know. It's very exposing, I guess.
Yeah, very revealing because it's just kind of a skimpy bikini, and she's asking for like a towel for
or a Band-Aid for the cut on her head.
Yeah, and then wouldn't you know it, she sees her priest.
Of course.
And the camera lingers on her breasts. It like zooms in or shows her breasts because the priest is looking.
Too long. They're probably like, oh, this movie's not going to do very good. Let's get some titties involved in here.
Well, I wonder if they were like going back over the shots that they had filmed, and they were like, oh, Oh, we got shots of her breast. Who was filming that? Like, Frank was filming the camera that day. Oh, Frank.
Frank. From Silver Screeners. You filming that day.
But the priest again is like, oh, I heard we're not doing Christmas this year. And she's like, nope, we're going on a cruise like we fucking told everybody 5 times already.
Yeah, so leave me alone.
And then the icing on the cake is Tim Allen comes out, and he's wearing his little Speedo.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, Father, how's it going? And that's just the cut. Because of this, they then end up in the community paper, which I did not know existed. It's a picture of them in their bathing suits. I don't know who took the photo, but the paper is just talking about how shitty they are. They're like, oh, they're selfish. They're not going to be staying for Christmas.
Yeah, and Tim Allen has like the biggest bulge in his Speedo.
Yeah.
I just have to point that out.
Because you were like, that's fake.
Yeah, oh, totally. Totally fake.
I bet he was like, give me a big dick.
Give me a big cup.
Yeah. First off, I thought Tim Allen planted this story in the paper because Jamie Lee Curtis loses her shit. She's like, all these people in this neighborhood are fucking assholes and jerks about this, and Tim Allen is like laughing the whole time. And I was like, he must have planted that story for her to get pissed off and want to leave.
Interesting.
Because she's like, oh, I don't even think I'll come back.
Whoa.
And he's like, yes. But no, it was Emmett Walsh, we're led to believe.
That's crazy.
Because he goes over there to like yell at him, and this is when he's like, oh yeah, you think I did it, old man? And he's like, you're 10 years older than I am. And yeah, they have like a fight. We just keep seeing different parts of the neighborhood and stuff. We're introduced to cops played by Cheech Marin and Jake Busey. Mm-hmm. They decline buying a calendar for the police.
Yeah.
So that's another thing they just don't get, and the police are all pissed off at them.
And then, of course, like 1 year. All they're asking is 1 year, and they are just like the worst people in the world.
Yeah. We do get kind of like a montage of Tim Allen fighting the neighborhood because he's pissed off that carolers keep coming in. So he like freezes the walkway, so like all these carolers just keep slipping.
That is funny.
It is pretty funny, yeah. And Jamie Lee comes out to like help him and falls, and she sees the cat is frozen.
Yeah,
which is
kitty.
A very bad CGI cat.
Yeah, totally.
So, okay, well, the big twist of the movie, we might as well just go ahead and get into it, is that they're packing all their shit for their trip. Wouldn't you know it, they get a call from their daughter, and I was pissed off at this daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I was so pissed off at this daughter because she's like, guess what, you guys? I'm coming home for Christmas.
Yeah, you just left.
Well, it's Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not even a month.
Yeah,
or
not
a
even.
month.
A little bit of a month, yes. And she's like, I'm coming home, and Jamie Lee, like, screams. She's like,
yeah.
She's like, Jesus Christ.
Over the top.
And she's like, and I'm bringing home a guy that I like, Enrique. And Tim Allen has a line or something where he's like, oh, that's the guy that she went to Peru to go chase, or something like that. And does she give him all the information here? I think she just dumps it all on him, where she's like, we're going to be home tonight at 8. Enrique is my fiance now.
Yeah, no. She says it right over the phone.
And Jamie Lee screams so loud she breaks glass. But,
yeah.
And she's like, you know what? I've been telling Enrique about how great our Christmases are, and I would really love for you to give him the best Christmas ever, because I know you guys are going to do your same old Christmas routine. So we're going to be there tonight, and we would love to be there for your Christmas party. And Jamie Lee, I hate these parts of movies because Jamie Lee just needs to be like, hey, you did not tell us you were coming home.
Yeah.
You dropped this on us at the last second. We were going on a cruise, and we will be going on a cruise.
Yeah, so you can come home. The house is yours.
Yeah.
And Enrique is a doctor, so,
Yeah, make kids.
There we go.
Make us grandkids.
That's right.
But if you wanted us to have a major Christmas party, should have called.
Yeah.
Really need to let us know you were coming in.
Another case of communication.
Yes.
Just like in Believe, we're going to tie all of this together.
I'm sure like a regular parent probably would not be pissed off as this, but I was getting angry because I would just be like, look, I'm sorry. Like, we thought you were going to be, gone for like a year. We had no idea you were coming home. We made plans.
Yeah, because they probably already paid the $3,000.
They already did. Yeah, Tim Allen later says they're non-refundable.
Yeah, so now instead of 6,000, what they're going to be paying 9,000 for this Christmas?
Well, I don't think they're going to be paying anything for this Christmas.
Well, it's because now community comes together.
Yeah. So the craziest thing is that Jamie Lee Curtis is like, of course, honey, we're going to have the best Christmas party tonight. Everyone's going to be there. I'm going to make all my favorite dishes and stuff. And Tim Allen's like, what is wrong with you?
He's all like,
He's like a chimp. So they get off the phone and Tim Allen is like, what about the cruise? And she's like, oh, forget the fucking cruise.
we're not going.
Now we have to do this whole rush where Jamie Lee Curtis is going to the store to get a ham in a can, which looks disgusting.
It's a hickory honey ham.
Yes. Yeah, because I guess Jamie Lee makes that every year.
And it is in a can. I've never seen ham in a can.
Not like this, no.
Unless it's Spam.
Well, Tim Allen has a gross line later where he's like, well, it's mostly just liquid and gelatinous fat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
yeah,
God.
That's so yummy.
She goes to the store and gets into a fight with this lady. They're like rushing to get in, and Jamie Lee doesn't get the ham. She buys a ham off of a couple for a bunch of money because she's rich as fuck.
Right.
And she loses it, and it rolls into the road and gets run over by a truck.
Which I thought was hilarious.
That is pretty funny, yeah. While she's doing that, Tim Allen goes to buy a tree. The only tree they have left is one that has no leaves on it.
Yeah, or I think it had a few.
Yes.
And then when he got home, there was none.
Yeah, like they all blew off on the way. So he does have a funny scene where he just takes it off the top of his car and throws it.
Yeah.
He's like, bah!
Or he actually puts it in his mouth and starts running around the house. Because he's a dog. He breaks a little limb off.
He buries it. So he sees that his neighbors are leaving. Like, they're packing up. They're going to their in-laws for Christmas. Mm-hmm. So he goes over and he's like, can I borrow your tree? And the guy's like, no, I don't think so. He's like, look, my daughter's coming home. We said for some dumbass reason we would give her this big Christmas party. And he's like, can I just borrow it? I'll have it back in your house at the end of the night or whatever. So he enlists Dan Aykroyd's son to help him steal this tree.
Yeah, which is such a role model thing to do.
Yeah, I guess, because the neighbor does give them his keys. He's like, fine, put it back. He's like, but not one broken ornament. Which they fuck up. Like, the kid, Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle, breaks an ornament.
Like, immediately.
And he's like, which ornament was that? And he pulls it up and is like, baby's first Christmas?
The worst ornament to break.
Yeah. So, it is kind of funny. They are moving this tree and they knock it the fuck over into like a little, like one of those Red Ryder
yeah,
things.
Like
the little pull cart things.
God damn, what they're called?
I don't remember, but it's like little Red Ryder. They pull it, and the neighbor across the street happens to see them, and this is where you see Rickety Cricket again drinking beer, and he calls the cops on him.
Okay.
And wouldn't you know it, Cheech Marin, who does not seem like he wants to be in this movie at all.
No.
He's like, are you stealing that Christmas tree? He acts like he does not want to be here at all.
Uh-huh. I think he's a good actor, but yeah, in this he was just kind of like, God, this movie's stupid.
Yeah, no, he doesn't want to be in here at whatever. And so Tim Allen gets arrested and is about to go to jail until Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle is like, the neighbor, I back him up. Everything he said was true. The neighbor did give him his key. Here's the key. So they have no choice but to let him go.
Yeah, so they believe a kid over him.
I know, they're like, we're going to go down to the station, we're going to call this neighbor, we're going to figure this out. Jamie Lee Curtis comes home, and Tim Allen is all like, hey, where's the ham? She's like, don't fucking say that name to me.
Yeah, she's like, never speak of that ham again.
And the daughter calls again, and she's like, hey, we're in Ohio, or whatever, and Mom, we were just talking about that famous pie you made every year. And she's like, I'll make it for you right now, I'll make you 5. I'll make you 5 pies. Tim Allen's like, calm down.
There's no fucking way.
Yeah.
No way.
It's just, I just imagine her childhood of like this daughter getting away with everything.
Yeah.
You know what I would like to have for my birthday party, Mom? Is I'd like to have like a real castle and a unicorn. It's like, I'll make it for you. We'll get it.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
Like, calm down. We're going to have to figure this out. But you can't just promise her everything. And then she's all like, and Dad, you know what? I can't wait to see Frosty. And he's like, God damn it.
Yeah.
There have been scenes before where Frosty's face changes depending upon what's going on. Tim Allen is like, no, I'm not going to get Frosty. And it shows Frosty and his face is frowning.
Yeah, and it kind of looks evil.
It does. It looks very evil. And then when he's all like, well, I'll put it up for her, the face is smiling.
Yeah.
And you're like, is that thing alive?
I thought maybe it was going to play a part in this movie.
You almost think it does because it actually talks to him later. He's like, what the fuck is that? Frosty? He looks at his glass like he's drinking too much. He's like, what the fuck? But I wanted to be like, oh, yes, like in that horror movie Jack Frost, where the snowman comes to life and kill people. It's
yeah.
Like they have a murderous snowman in their basement hiding out for the season. But like, oh, you remember how this Frosty showed up on our doorstep after that string of murders that happened a few streets over?
Weird. Let's just put it in the basement. It'll be fine.
It had, I'm assuming what it had on it was jam, but it could have been blood, I guess.
It was really heavy.
well, yeah, I guess it's not too heavy because he is lifting it. Because Tim Allen's like, oh yes, I'll put the fucking Frosty up.
And okay, I didn't like how he put it up because he put a noose, like a literal noose around his neck, and you already know how I feel about nooses. I just don't like them.
Yeah. You know, it just triggers some things in people, and it doesn't look. See, what I thought was going to happen with that, because instead of asking for help, he tries to lift the Frosty up by himself, and I thought the Frosty was going to fall, and it looked like he was trying to hang it, like he's like, "Fuck this Frosty!"
Yeah, right?
And I thought the neighborhood was going to be like, "Oh my God, he hates Christmas!
What's he doing to Frosty?"
Yeah, but the whole neighborhood comes out when they see him lifting it up. They're like, "He's putting Frosty up!"
Yeah,
and they're like, yeah, good job, you're putting Frosty up, oh my God.
So weird.
This neighborhood is strange. Well, he tries to put Frosty up, it slips, falls off the roof and breaks into a million pieces. He falls off the roof but is hanging by the rope by his foot.
Right, so he doesn't hit the ground.
Yeah. I think he says, Tim Allen has some weird lines here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is awful too. He said it was a suicide attempt, but he misunderstood the instructions.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know.
That's just no. Like, well, you don't joke around about shit like that.
No, yeah, that's kind of messed up, meaning like he thought he was going to try and hang himself, but he thought you had to do it by the leg.
Which I say that, and we have a very dark sense of humor, so there's shit that we make fun of that we probably shouldn't.
You know, there's some stuff that kind of gets to us too.
Yeah. But anyway, I didn't like it.
I think there is a scene, Jamie Lee Curtis, I think, shows up at this point where all the firemen and stuff, they show up. Mm-hmm. And when Jamie Lee Curtis shows up, I think he says something like, oh, can you kill me for real or something? He says something like that.
No, I don't know.
Can you hang me for real now? Because he doesn't want to have to deal with her. They get him down and the whole neighborhood is here, and Dan Aykroyd and him are talking, and he's like, you know what? Blair's actually coming home. And they're like, oh my God, Blair's coming home. She's like the kid to the neighbors.
Right.
They all act like she's her daughter. And I'll be like,
she's an angel.
I'm like, what? This is a weird ass neighborhood.
She is from heaven directly.
I guess. It was like, oh, Blair's coming home. That's amazing. And they're like, well, you know, we didn't have anything. We were rushing. We were trying to get a tree, and I borrowed the tree. And there is a line that Jamie Lee Curtis, the only thing she could find was smoked trout for Christmas.
Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, ooh.
Yeah, and Dan Aykroyd, you know, credit to where credit's due, is like, all right, everybody, we're getting together, and we're going to put on the best fucking Christmas for him every year.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, why should we help him? He hasn't been very Christmassy this year. And he's like, well, it's almost like It's a Wonderful Life. It's like, well, here, Blair babysat your kids and took care of your kids too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that scene in It's a Wonderful Life. It's like, well, the money's not here. It's in Fred's house and Bill's house.
Yeah, you should feel obligated to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So Dan Aykroyd's like, all right, everybody, we're going to go to your houses, grab a bunch of shit, and we'll meet back here in 30 minutes. And he's like, Nora, or her name's Nora, I think, right? Nora Crank. Jamie Lee's character, whatever.
Know.
He's like, Jamie, did you get your honey ham? And she's like, I got smoked trout. And he's like, And there is a person on the street that's like, well, we got 2 honey hams. I'll give you one. And he's like, that's fantastic.
Yes, thank you.
Like, why did you get 2 if you're only going to make one? Never mind.
Yeah. Don't make sense out of it.
COVID was coming and we heard that the honey baked hams were going to go out, so we hoarded them.
Instead of toilet paper, it was
Yes.
hickory honey hams.
So this whole thing now is them rushing to get everything together. The neighborhood does come together and puts everything together, and like Jamie Lee's like directing them. She's making cookies. We did miss out on a very important scene that while Tim Allen is hanging up Frosty, she goes to get some stuff for the pies that she's going to make.
Some liquor, too.
She loads up on this liquor.
Mm-hmm. She's a drinker.
There is a side to this movie where Jamie Lee has got some problems.
Yeah.
But she goes to the store and is loading up on liquor, and there's just this dude there. And he's like, well, hi, Nora. How are you guys doing this year for Christmas? And she's like, well, we're doing okay. Has no idea who this guy is.
And she does the awkward, like, I don't remember who you are, but
Yeah.
you seem to know me. Hey, you!
Yeah, because he's even like, oh, Blair is in Peru now for the Peace Corps, right? And she's like, well, he knows who my daughter is. Yes, she is, yes.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, oh, we're having a party. Do you want to come? And he's like, well, that would be fantastic. Yes,
Aww.
I would.
He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah. We're going to get into this guy because I want to know if the ending of this movie you think is real or if they were just doing that as like the end. But we'll get there. Okay, so we're here in this big montage of them getting everything ready. There's a ton of people in their house, like redecorating, putting lights up and trees up and shit. A big snowstorm happens. That starts while they're doing it now. And there's this whole bit that Tim Allen is doing where he's putting stuff up, but he has like these sticks that are bundled. And he's like, what are these? He's like, does anybody know what these are?
Yeah, cinnamon sticks.
Cinnamon sticks, were they? Okay. And he's like, are these legal?
Yeah.
And then we cut back to him at one time and he's trying to smoke them.
Yeah.
He's like lighting them with a lighter.
I think he was just acting or pretending to be funny.
Yes. I'm imagining that he was improvising that. But Tim Allen, as I told you, got busted for cocaine smuggling when he was younger.
Right.
I was like, hey, he'll roll over on whoever gave him those weed sticks. Because that's what he did when he was younger.
Hey, you do what you gotta do.
He's like, prison time? I'll tell you everything.
Yeah, I mean, he's young and scared.
Which, I know people were scared, but I watched Goodfellas at a young age. They said, you never tell anybody about your business and you always keep your mouth shut.
It's true. All of it's true.
Like, look, if we got busted for something, I wouldn't be like, Shelly did it. I'd be like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I would never on you.
Yeah. We'll see.
Except that one time.
Oh! Is that how they knew where I was going to be?
You're currently under surveillance, so watch what you're doing.
Is that how they knew that I was hiding out in that motel after that murder? Like in Fargo at the end, where he's like, they arrest Jerry Lundegaard in that motel at the end. He's like,
yeah. That's so weird.
That's how I got arrested. They came to me just like Jerry Lundegaard, and they're like, Mr. Johnson? And I was like, who? Oh, yes.
Yes, that's me. I forgot.
They find out that Blair and Enrique have gotten in early, and they're like, God damn it, we need more time to make this Christmassy.
Stall. We need to stall.
Yeah, so Dan Aykroyd tells Cheech Marin and Jake Busey, he's like, you guys go pick her up. And they're like, well, we're cops. We can't just go pick people up and bring them here. And he's like, do you want me to talk to your chief?
Yeah.
And they're like, fine, we'll go. God damn.
This neighborhood.
Yeah.
They're like controlling the world or something.
Yeah, I guess. And so they go to pick him up and they're still putting shit up. It's just, there's a long stretch of them just decorating this house for Christmas.
Yeah, way too long. For some reason, Dewey, radios the cops somehow. Like, he's got a radio and he's all like, you need to, we need more time.
Yeah, because they picked the Blair and Enrique up from the airport. And they're like, oh, we got him. We're coming in. And yeah, Dewey has his own radio. And they're like, we need more time still. How can we stretch this movie out even longer? And Dewey's like, yes, you guys need to stall. And he's like, what, kid? This is... And he's trying to make it seem like he's not talking to a little kid. He's like, oh, because what's funny is that before he gets that, he's driving 5 miles an hour down the road. And she's like, why are you driving so slow? And he's like, oh, very slippery outside. I gotta be safe.
Be careful, yeah.
And then when Dewey calls him again, he's like, oh, that was my chief. I think he heard that a robbery was going on or something.
Yeah.
So he pulls over to the side, and this movie won't end. But Cheech Marin is doing this thing with Jake Busey. Jake Busey's like, why are we out in the car? And he's like, we're having to stall. The party's not ready yet. We gotta do something. He's like, let's just walk down to the end of the road here, look like we're looking at something, and then walk back.
Isn't the cop radio like you can hear
You would think.
what people are saying?
Yeah, I don't understand how Blair and Enrique didn't hear what was going on.
Yeah, they were like, we're in the back seat.
I heard that.
Totally know what's happening right now.
They sounded like a little boy told you to stall.
Yeah, what's happening? Are you kidnapping us?
Are you a real police officer? So, the millionth plot line of this movie is they actually do see a guy robbing a house. The cops see this guy break out of an apartment building. Jake Busey runs up the icy stairs and slips and, like, almost caves his head in.
Mm-hmm.
It is a rough hit. He slips and falls and hits his head on the stairs. The dude, like, gets out, and Cheech Marin, they get him. And Jake Busey, like, shoves him up against the glass in front of Blair and Enrique in the back of this car, and they, like, start screaming.
Freaking out.
Yeah, it's a little funny. They finally have everything at this Christmas party ready. The cops show up, and there's a funny scene where they leave this guy, this robber, in the back seat of the car with the windows down.
Yeah.
Like he's a dog, but also not that it's like a huge snowstorm going on.
Yeah. Or that he can escape. Like, he can't get out the window.
Yeah.
That's impossible.
It's insane, but the cops are there. Like, both cops are playing guitars. Cheech Marin really can play. He was in Cheech and Chong, where they did musical sketch and stuff.
Right.
And Dan Aykroyd is playing his accordion.
Of course.
They're all like, oh, they're having a great time, and the unknown dude talks to Enrique in Spanish.
Oh, yeah.
Because he comes up to Enrique, and he's like, oh, excuse me, where are you from? And he's like, oh, I'm from Peru. And he's like, oh, I spent some time there. And he's like, ¿qué pasa? Like, ¿cómo que quieres? And he's like, oh. And so they go off and have their own little speech and talk for a bit. And
start bonding.
I think he says, he's like, my name is Marty, or something like that. And there is a funny scene where Blair is talking to her parents, and she's like, who is that guy? And he's like, hello, my name is Marty. He's like, that's Marty. Don't you know Marty? Like, no one knows.
Good old Marty.
No one knows who he is, like, at all.
Our cat may come in here.
Yeah. What?
His name is
You
Marty.
call my name? So they're all playing music, and then Jamie Lee Curtis gives a very thoughtful, heartfelt speech about, oh, thank you, we needed you, we love you guys so much. Mm-hmm. And then they wait on Tim Allen to kind of say something nice, too, and he's like, ditto. And he just walks out.
Like, the worst.
The worst speech ever.
And everybody is just, like, so quiet and just kind of like, did that just happen?
Like, oh, that was not good.
Wow, he is a jerk.
And because Dan Aykroyd was in the Blues Brothers and he loves blues music, he starts playing Eddie Cochran, something else. I think he plays something else by Eddie Cochran. He's like, well, baby, don't fry, I'm gonna... He's playing the accordion.
Really jamming.
Yeah, and, Tim Allen is sitting in the kitchen by himself. He's all huffy and puffy, and he tells Jamie Lee, because she's like, you're still pissed off about the trip, aren't you? He's like, we could still go. We could still make it.
We have to leave, like, right now.
Yeah.
But we could go.
And she's like, I thought you would have understood, all these people doing all this stuff for us would have made you understand how much we need them and they love us. But I guess not. You just only want this dumbass trip.
So selfish.
And at this point, at some time, Dewey sees the robber sitting in the back of the car and he lets him out. He's like, fine, I tell you what, you'll get some food, but you're only going to be in here for 5 minutes, and then you're coming right back out to the car.
Yeah.
And this robber immediately goes upstairs to start robbing.
Of course. Because he's like, I swear on my kids.
Yes, that's right.
On my kids' lives or whatever.
He says to Dewey, he's like, I haven't eaten in 7 days. I'm just trying to get stuff for my kids for Christmas. And Dewey's like, oh, that's such a heartfelt speech.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna
yeah,
let you out.
He lets him in. The guy immediately goes upstairs.
Which you would think he would be handcuffed, but... Or
yeah.
maybe he unhandcuffs him.
It was the I think he does. Yeah, I think he gets the keys or something,
yeah,
or takes
right.
them. Yeah, I was gonna say it's the honesty system here, where it's like, okay, we're gonna leave you here with the car unlocked, the windows down, not in handcuffs, and you better stay in there, Mister.
You stay, good boy.
Tim Allen's like, Tim Allen looks through his door outside and he sees that Emmett Walsh and his wife are in their house across the street.
Yeah, nosy.
So he goes over there and he's like, hey, I noticed that you weren't over. And he's like, oh, she's not feeling very good. So, it's just too difficult to get across the street at this time. And he's like, well, I wanted to say thank you. And he's like, well, great. Yeah, you're welcome. And, get the fuck off my property.
Yeah, get the hell out of here. We don't like you.
He gives them the ham because the dude that no one knows brings the honey ham in the can.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of good it did because it's just sitting on the table and Tim Allen takes it and gives it to him.
That's right.
He's like, when he first goes over, he's like, I wanted to give you this as a thank you. And Emmett Walsh is like, well, I'm allergic to pork and she can't really eat that. And he's like, oh, and she's like, but that's a nice gift. Thank you. We'll keep it. And he starts to leave and he sees through the window his family enjoying Christmas and laughing. And he's like, knocks on the door, goes inside again. And he's like, you know what? I want you guys to have these tickets to go on the trip.
Yeah, and then they start throwing out excuses like, oh, no, we can't. We've got this. We've got to do that.
What about our cat?
Yeah, nobody's here to watch our cat.
There's another heartbreaking story here where I'm assuming they're talking about their son. The wife is like, yeah. Robert said he's probably going to stop by. And she says that a few times. And Emmett Walsh is like, oh, Robert hasn't been here in years.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's that story?
That sounds more interesting than what's going on right now.
It's like, what did you do to Robert to make him not want to come back?
Are you good parents or is Robert just a bad kid?
Well, I beat him every now and again. He deserved it.
Did you call him an old man too?
He told me that he was homosexual. I was like, I never want to see you again.
No.
No, I don't know. But that's a heartbreaking line where he's like, Robert doesn't been home in years.
Yeah, that is.
Even when you told him that your mom has cancer, like Robert's not coming home.
There's something there, man. Something deep.
This is maybe Emmett Walsh's same character from the movie Blood Simple where he plays a hitman. And he's like, oh, I used to kill people back in the day. Robert found out. He found out when I took him along with me one time.
Oh,
like,
shit.
This is what Daddy does.
It was take your kid to work day.
I'll take you to work day. What do you want from me? He said something like, Dad, I never want to see you again. And I was like, oh, whatever. Oh, fine. Hey, I didn't know he was, this is so hard not to do the We Hate Movies voice. Like, I didn't know he was serious about it. Thinking back on it, I shouldn't have made him pull the trigger.
Oh, damn.
But, his fingerprints aren't on record. I'm not going to get caught. He's not going to get caught.
It's no big deal.
No.
He's, got to grow up one day.
Yeah. So after all their excuses, Tim Allen, it's a very lovely scene.
Mm-hmm, it is.
He's like, this is all expenses paid. He's like, I didn't get the cancellation insurance. We're not going. Blair's staying with us for a few days. You got to go. And they bring up a very good point where they're like, oh, our names are on all these tickets. And he's like, I'm going to take care of it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, how? It's 2004, man. You got to get there 8 hours in advance. And if your names aren't on the tickets, they're taking you in the back and beating the shit out of you.
Yeah. I'm sure he knows somebody that he's paid lots of money to that will make it happen.
He's probably got like a trip, what do you call it? Like your travel agent.
Oh, maybe.
Which those people were always assholes when I dealt with them in Chase. They're like, yes, can I get my travel agent number on here? I'm like, I don't do that. Like,
Ooh.
I
don't know what that means.
Wait. Not Chase. When I worked at Expedia. I'd get those people and I'd be like, oh, yeah, I'm trying to book a trip for some people here. And can I get my travel agent number? I'm like,
okay, that makes sense.
This is Expedia customer service. It was just dumb. But maybe he's got a travel agent like that. They're like, sure, I'll book the trips for me. I don't know if people even do that anymore. If you have travel agents.
Yeah, there's travel agents out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, I'll take care of the names. Your trip is tomorrow, so I don't know how the fuck I'm going to have this changed in the system for you to go because you have to leave at noon.
Yeah.
And he tells them that they're going to have to get to the airport 2 hours early, which again, 2004, 3 years after 9/11.
No.
Not 2 hours early at all.
Get there like a day.
Yeah, day. He's like, don't wear a belt.
No liquids.
Yeah, at all. Yeah. He's like, well, you guys got to get there 2 days. So they accept the tickets. It's very nice. And And Emmett Walsh is like, well, thank you very much, old man. We love you, and thank you so much. And then he, like, runs back in. He's like, we're going to start packing!
Exactly.
Which, it seems like it's late at night because Blair says she got in at 8.
Yes.
Which maybe 7, so they got in early. I don't know how long this party's been going on for, but it's got to be late at night. These old folks have to pack for a week trip and get to the airport an hour early, or 2 hours early.
Yeah, they can do it.
I would be so pissed.
I have faith in them.
Like, thanks for dropping this burden on me.
Yeah.
I think we could do it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a shitty way of doing it. Kind of like, it would stress me out.
Oh,
like
God,
if somebody came over and gave us tickets, great that
Yeah.
it's for a cruise and it's free. But I would be stressed out and trying to pack and get everything ready and
Yeah.
go and blah.
It would be very overwhelming for sure.
I'm a planner. And if you don't give me enough time to plan, I freak out.
Yeah. Absolutely. I would do that as well. Well, Tim Allen's walking back to his house, and while he was doing that, the robber, Dewey, finds him. He was, like, taking things out of their house.
Yeah.
And he's like, you said you just wanted to get stuff for your kids. And he's like, I don't even have kids.
Joke's on you.
The robber jumps out of the window, and he falls down the garage because Tim Allen, like, calls him out. He's like, get down from there. He is going to run, and Santa stops him. I think Santa, like, hits him in the head with an umbrella.
Yeah, he comes out with an umbrella and just hits him with
Yeah.
it, I guess. Yeah.
So the police take that guy away, and then everybody else goes back into the house, and Tim Allen's like, well, thanks, Santa. He's like, I didn't, that was great. And he's like, well, I told you should use an umbrella, and it turns out that the unknown man was Santa from the beginning.
It's Marty.
Yeah, he's the guy that was trying to give him an umbrella. They didn't know who he was, but he knows who everybody is. But he tells him, he's like, I gotta get going. He's like, it's snowing really bad, and this is a good time of year to sell umbrellas to people.
Yeah, he's like, I gotta go to work.
Yeah, and he leaves in the tiniest little bug. It's like a shitty bug
So
car.
cute.
It's funny. Oh, yeah, so Jamie Lee Curtis is outside with Tim Allen, and they're looking at their window again. They see their daughter kiss Enrique, with, like, all the neighbors are, like, standing around them watching them.
Staring at them.
They're like, yeah, she's kissing him.
That's weird.
It's very strange.
And it's very awkward and uncomfortable and like, I'm like, if it was New Year's Eve and everybody's kissing at midnight, it makes sense.
Yes.
But why would you just stare at somebody kissing?
It's very strange. Like, I would be weirded the fuck out.
Yeah.
But Tim Allen goes, skipping Christmas. What a dumb idea. And Jamie Lee is like, maybe next year. And he looks like, well, okay, maybe. So they go back inside, and as the camera's pulling out, we see Frosty on someone's roof, and he's like, Merry Christmas, everybody, like, moving.
Yeah, he's alive.
And we didn't touch upon it, but when Tim Allen goes across the street to Emmett Walsh, the Frosty is talking to him. He's like, Luther. And Tim Allen thinks that he's drunk, but when he comes back around the street, there's his neighbor that, like, got electrocuted earlier is stuck up there.
And he's frozen.
Yeah. He's like, they took the ladder down, and I'm stuck. And he's like, I'll get you down.
Poor guy.
But the camera pulls out, and Frosty says Merry Christmas, and then reindeer, pulling the little bug with Marty in it, fly away like he's Santa for real.
Like, for real.
And I looked it up online in the trivia, and it was like, oh, yes, he is Santa Claus. Supposed to be. And I'm like, is he supposed to be really Santa Claus, or is he just the dude dressed as him?
I don't understand how Santa is even involved in this movie.
I don't know.
Because it's just all about them taking a trip and then having to come together as a community to throw this party.
Yeah, which the trivia on IMDb is funny. It was like, technically, this movie does not happen on Christmas. They said it takes place like the night before or something.
Yeah.
So they're not having Christmas. So, I don't know. I was like, was he really Santa? That's dumb.
Yeah. No, it is. And there were several, a handful of good spots that were funny
Yeah.
that I laughed at. But it's like they didn't know where they were going to go with this movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't well planned out.
Right. And we didn't talk about all of it. I mean, like, we didn't talk about Tim Allen improvising like a crazy guy when he got Botox and was eating like a duck.
Oh, God, that was gross.
It was weird. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here that just didn't feel like it worked. I mean, there were some funny moments, but yeah, I overall didn't end up liking it very much. I felt like it was really long.
Yeah. Yeah. It did. And I mean, just those funny parts was okay, and I like Jamie Lee Curtis, but overall, I don't love the movie.
No, no, I guess it bombed hardcore at the theater, and yeah, it just didn't do very well. Tim Allen loves doing Christmas shit, I guess, because he did the Santa Claus trilogy. He's
Mm.
doing the Santa Claus show now, Christmas with the Cranks, and they said there's another one, but I couldn't remember. But
I'm
yeah.
excited for that Stranger Things, that guy in Stranger Things doing that Santa movie.
Oh, Violent Night.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he plays Santa trying to. It's like Die Hard.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, I hope it's pretty good. I think it's getting good reviews. Kind of like, yeah, it's okay. It's a good action movie.
Yeah.
And, well, there we go. That is Christmas with the Cranks.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. And again, if you have anything you want to add, if you have a story, something funny, just send it to us. It'll be fun to talk about you on the next episode.
Yeah.
And you can follow us on Instagram or Twitter. Email us, thefilmobsessedcouple@gmail.com. And we appreciate the hell out of you for listening.
Yes, we thank you guys so much. Next week, we'll be wrapping up our Christmas season. We will be doing what I hopefully have saved the worst for last. We're doing Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas.
Oh, dear Lord.
0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
But on the bright side, it's only an hour and like 10 minutes.
Thank goodness, because I got finals.
Yes. And I don't think he could fit all of his hatred and shit for other people that are not white into an entire movie.
Exactly.
Anyway, so until then, we'll see you next week for Saving Christmas.
Bye-bye.